It is 6:30, dead on the nose, and I would like to call the April 10th, 2018 council meeting to order. I will ask the clerk to call the roll.
Dr. Lee,
Here.
Ms. Walden,
Here.
Ms. Shinholster,
Here.
Mr. Reynolds,
Here.
Mr. Mullins,
Here.
Mr. Chambers.
Here.
All right, we do have a quorum present. If you all will stand with me and let's have our prayer and pledge. Bow our heads. Gracious Father, we pray for your spirit of community, justice, and love on tonight as we, your servants and elected officials, conduct your business for your people. Remind us, because we all forget from time to time, that we serve together for the good, the common good of our community. Grant us the courage and the wisdom to speak up when it's time and to listen with patience and respectively. May we all be guided by the spirit of community, justice, and love. And let every heart say, amen.
Amen.
Our Father, sorry, I'm in church tonight, I'm sorry. I have to forget, remember, I'm a preacher, so I'm in church tonight. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So oftentimes I'm running from one place to another. I was in revival last night, and I'm gonna scoot out and get to revival tonight, so I guess I'm ready to close it out and shut the tent down. All right. Tonight we're gonna recognize Miss Meredith Lipson. She's gonna come of Malden and Jenkins. She's gonna come and give us our annual audit report. Thank you, Miss Meredith.
Thank you for having me here. Do I need to close it out? As you said, I'm here to present the annual audit, the fiscal year 2017 audit. It was completed and filed back in October, so it was completed fairly quickly this year, and was submitted to the state, of course, by the December 31st deadline as is required. I believe you have with you one document, which is the comprehensive annual financial report. You all have those? Oh,
I have that.
No,
I got it.
that is your comprehensive annual financial report, the financial statement. And then the other document our firm prepares that we refer to as our auditor discussion and analysis. We do this to communicate to you all the information that we as auditors are required to communicate under the standards that guide us. There's a lot of information in here about government accounting standards that will be in effect in the coming years. There's a lot of them. Some apply to you all, some do not. Generally, we give the finance department a heads up if there's anything coming your way that's going to significantly affect your financial reporting going forward. Right now, there's really not anything out there. Fortunately, you all do not have other post-employment benefits, which is the big thing out there now, kind of like the pension was a few years ago. But because you all don't have that, there's really nothing out on the horizon that's going to affect you all significantly. The comprehensive annual financial report, of course, goes above and beyond what is required by the state. You all present it every year to the Government Finance Officers Association for their Certificate of Achievement and Excellence in Financial Reporting Award. So there's a lot of demographic information included in here, other statistical information that the state doesn't require. But for years, you all have been putting this together, and it's a very good, very informative document. If you'll turn to the first numbered page, the Independent Auditor's Report. We did issue an unmodified opinion. That is a clean opinion, the one that, of course, you want to receive. As always, the financial statements are the responsibility of management. Our responsibility is to express an opinion based on our audit procedures. And again, it was unmodified, clean opinion. I recognize that you all have not had the chance to look through this financial report yet, so I'm just going to kind of hit some highlights, and then if you all have any questions going forward, feel free to contact me. Shay and Brenda have my contact information. I'm always glad to answer any questions that you may have. I think one of the information that most of the councils and commissions that I work with are most interested in is your general fund, which is of course where the majority of your operations flow through. You have some other funds that are special revenue that earmarked for certain purposes. You have your water and sewer fund, but the general fund is kind of the heart and soul of the operations of the city. If you will turn to page 20, you can see the balance sheet of your general fund. Also reflected there is your special purpose sales tax fund and a combination of some smaller funds. But you can see on page 20, your general fund at June 30, 2017 had total assets of just over $3 million. The majority of that was in cash and cash equivalents, which is always nice. You had total liabilities of just over $300,000, and your fund balance at June 30, 2017 was $2,588,000. You'll see that reflected on page 21. As far as the activity for your fiscal year 2017, on the following page, page 22, you can see the general fund had $10.4 million in revenues, $12.1 million in expenditures. You had funds transferred in from your water and sewer fund of approximately $1.2 million. It resulted in a decrease in your general fund balance for fiscal year 17 of approximately $500,000. So you did have a decrease in, those decreases and increases kind of come and go from year to year, depending on how you all budget, what your plans are as far as expenditures for the coming year. But you did have a decrease for fiscal year 2017. The rest of the financial statements outside the general fund is it's the same format that you've seen in the past. Same type footnotes, support the balance sheets and income statements of all of your funds. What I'd like to do now is to turn to this document here, and it gives you a pretty good synopsis of some financial information. One of the things I did want to point out, included in the financial report you're just looking at, is the management's discussion and analysis that follows the table of contents. It is written by management. It is a very good summary of the financial activity for the city for the year. And it's written by management. It is not written by us. It explains some of the variances, some of the budget to actual differences. We do make sure that it's consistent with the information in the financial report, but it is written by management, and if the whole document is not something you want to go through, that's a really good summary. Again, that's the management discussion and analysis. But if we could look at this, our agenda here, the first few pages give some information about our firm. For those of you all who might not be familiar with us, we do a significant amount of governmental auditing in the Southeast, primarily in Georgia, but also in the surrounding states. So we feel like we bring a good bit of experience to your audit and the ability to be able to work through with your finance department any issues that they may have. Let's see. If we look on page 8 and 9. I know we talked about this a minute ago, but the graphs on pages 8 and 9 reflect the general fund revenues and expenditures for the year. They also give a comparison to the amounts for the previous year. As I mentioned, your total revenues, including your transfers, were just over $11.6 million. That's a decrease from the prior year of approximately $13.8 million. The biggest decrease is that you all did not transfer as much money from the water and sewer fund to your general fund in fiscal year 17 as you have in the past. That was really the most significant decrease. Page 9 reflects the expenditures. And expenditures and transfers were approximately $12 million for the current year, which is about just under $2 million less than the previous year. The reason for that $2 million decrease, if you all remember, you put a significant amount of additional funds in your retirement plan in 2016 and did not do that in 2017. And I would not expect that type of additional funding going forward. But you all have attempted over the past few years, of course, to really fund that retirement plan as much as possible to get that percentage of the accrued liability built up in that fund. So that kind of explains the variances there from the previous year. You look at the following page, page 10, there's a couple of graphs there that reflect your general fund revenues and expenditures and transfers over the past 5 years, as well as a graph that shows your expenditures as compared to your fund balance. And if you look at that graph, the line graph, the wider the gap between the expenditures, the blue line, and your fund balance, the red line, the less leverage the city has each year as it enters into a new fiscal year. And of course your expenditures did decrease in fiscal year 2017, which was good. Again, that 2016 had that one-time funding of the retirement plan and those expenditures, so that's what drove them up. As of June 30, 2017, your general fund balance was available to cover approximately 78 days of expenditures. So that's between 2 and 3 months worth of expenditures at June 30, 2017, which carried you into when you start collecting your property taxes. So, you know, it's always good to have some of that going forward. Otherwise, governments find themselves having to, you know, do the tax anticipation notice. And I can't remember a time we all had to do that. So you did have the fund balance necessary to roll you all forward to the to when you got your property taxes in the fall of 2017. Also included in here is some more discussion on audit scopes and procedures, some of the required communications, and then we do have various recommendations, findings and recommendations. Really the only things, and this starts on page 16, you did have to make what is referred to as a prior period adjustment in your workers' comp fund, the risk management insurance fund. There was a misunderstanding as far as some of you had some large claims outstanding in the past. There's a misunderstanding as to the information we were receiving from your third-party administrators as to what exactly was included in that. And so we had to go back and adjust the previous years. It did not flow through the current year, the liability for that amount. So whenever we had to make an adjustment to a previous period, we record that as a prior period adjustment, and we do have to cite that as an item to be noted. And the only other two findings that were included on page 17 in your audit related to the Central State Hospital Redevelopment Authority. They are a component unit for you all. Those do have to be included in here. However, we met with the board of the Redevelopment Authority months ago, even before the audit was completed, and these have been, it's my understanding that these have been cleared up. They have hired a third-party accounting firm to handle all their finances now, so we don't anticipate any issues with making a lot of adjustments like we had been. And they were also ending the use of debit cards for expenses. So those, like I said, have been cleared up since the audit process. And then we had just a few recommendations on pages 18 and 19. They're just recommendations, just things that we think would make some of the accounting processes a little more efficient, or some of the controls a little stronger. These have actually been, we've brought these up in the past, and I think as far as segregation of duties goes, on page 18, that's one of the things that all city and county governments fight with, having enough people to adequately segregate all of the duties. It's very difficult. The cost of hiring additional employees to completely segregate the custody of assets and the recording of assets, the cost far outweighs the benefit, and we recognize that. However, because there is a segregation of duties, an issue in one area, we do continue to bring that up to you all, just so that you know that you are aware of that. And then the other recommendation on page 18 related to retirement plan information. There's a little gap there between the information the actuary is getting and what's recorded in the city's retirement fund. It has to do with, I think he's getting his information from the retirement fund itself, as opposed to the city's general ledger. So there's a little difference every year, nothing significant, but it might make things a little easier if he has all of that information going forward. I know that was, blew through that, but, are there any questions? Are there any areas that you would like me to talk about or expound on? As I mentioned, if you have questions going forward, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'm glad to come back up here and sit down with any of you if you have questions, or if there's anything you all need, going forward. Please. I do want to thank the finance department, Brenda and Shay, and all of the others in the finance department. They know what we need, and they get us what we need in order for us to get it done and get it completed and get it off to the state. And they work very hard, and you all are fortunate to have them.
Very good.
I think Mr. Jarrett had wanted me to present this to the council. This is the GFOA award. You all actually are, I think because it was filed so early, this year you've actually already gotten the award. It's usually later in the year, but you all did receive the award again for fiscal year 2017, the Certificate of Achievement with the little small disc that goes on the, I think it's on a,
One in the harbor.
plaque.
right, on the plaque out there. I believe this is the 31st year, is that right? 31st year that you all have received the award, and that's something to be very proud of. It's a lot of work to put all of this together with all of the statistical data and so forth, so. Just wanted to congratulate you all, and got your disc.
Thank you, Finance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Meredith. Let me be the first to say thank you to the council, the finance committee, and Mr. Jarrett for your outstanding work and making sure you maintain the city's funds and the community's fund in an excellent manner. Continue to excel with the spirit of excellence that you are doing right now. Thank you, Ms. Meredith, for your report and coming and sharing it with us also tonight. Let me say we're glad to have Ms. Walden back tonight. For most of y'all that are here, you know she lost her father, and so we're glad to have her back with us as well tonight. And then Dr. Lee, mother, lost her sister. Am I right, Dr. Lee? Also during that process. So I'm going to ask everyone to continue to pray much for their families. All right, you all have received a copy of the March 27th council meeting minutes. Are there any corrections? Do I hear a motion to adopt the minutes?
So moved. Second.
I'm going to ask the clerk to call the roll.
Dr. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Walden,
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster,
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds,
Aye.
Mr. Mullins,
Aye.
Mr. Chambers.
Aye.
The minutes are approved. We don't have any old business this evening, so I'm going to move on to the new business. And I'm going to ask the clerk to read Resolution R 1804-017 by caption.
To designate May 4th, 2018 as hometown celebration as a community festival sponsored by Main Street Downtown Development Authority. To permit public consumption of alcoholic beverages in open containers while upon public streets or recreation areas. To establish a control zone within the festival. To reaffirm the rules designated by the Community Festival Ordinance.
You have heard the resolution. Is there a motion?
Motion we approve.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll, please.
Dr. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Walden,
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster,
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds,
Aye.
Mr. Mullins,
Aye.
Mr. Chambers.
Aye.
The resolution is approved. The next item is Resolution R 1803-018. I will ask the clerk to please read the resolution by caption.
To authorize Mayor Mary Parham Copeland to sign an initial project assessment and application on behalf of the City of Milledgeville to apply for Georgia Department of Community Affairs Downtown Development Revolving Loan Funds on behalf of West Hancock Holdings LLC of Andrew Galucki and Wes Allen for the construction and rehabilitation of residential space to be located at 138-140 West Hancock Street.
You have heard the resolution. Is there a motion?
Motion we approve. Second.
Mayor, I'd like for the Main Street Director to give a little summary
Sure.
of this.
Okay.
Did you say 1803 or 1804?
I did. Did I say 1803?
It's 1804.
1804, I'm sorry.
Okay, well, this is similar to what you guys have approved before for several projects downtown. These are some men that purchased it's the Hiroshima building, just to give you an idea of what 138, 140 is. And they would like to update the upstairs to 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartments. Right now, it's just a vacant space. I think in the past, there had been somebody who had lived there because there's like a random toilet, a random tub in the middle of one of the rooms. But anyway, so they're going to renovate that. I think it's going to be a great improvement to that building, bring more life to downtown. People living there is always a good thing. And this is a low-interest loan for 2% that we get from the state for being a Main Street community. I'd also like to add that the city has money coming in from the CDBG grant that I'm also going to be working with these two men to see if they want to apply for that. And that way we can loan some of that money out and start that revolving loan fund, which is what the CDBG grant was initially given to us for.
Can I get my bathtub back?
Sure.
So they have enough designated parking up there?
Yes, the back space that that building owns has enough for 4 parking spaces, and there'll also be improving the back area of the Hiroshima restaurant, which is another improvement. Blackbird Coffee, Jimmy Holder, and Iona, they have improved the back of their building, so we're slowly getting improvements to that back alley, which has been a major eyesore, and I don't know about crime, but it's just, I've heard a lot of complaints about it, so.
Make it clean and safe.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah.
One more building and then, working through.
Yeah. Good.
Any other questions about it?
All right. You have heard the resolution. Is there a motion?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
We've got the motion, the second. I just need to call roll.
Clerk, call the roll, please.
Dr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Walden?
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster?
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds?
Aye.
Mr. Mullins?
Aye.
Mr. Chambers?
Aye.
The resolution is approved. We have 2 alcohol license applications to consider. I will ask the clerk to present the applications. Go first.
The first is for Frank Pendergast, an Aubrey Lane, I can't read that. AUBM, doing business as The Brick. And it is for the addition of for a alcoholic beverage catering license. In addition, added on to his current alcohol license.
For a motion,
Motion we approve.
Second.
I'll ask the clerk to present the second application.
Wanted to take a vote on that, Mayor.
I'm sorry. Let's back it up. It is 100 days today and counting. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Dr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Walden?
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster?
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds?
Aye.
Mr. Mullins?
Aye.
Mr. Chambers?
Aye.
Now, the second is for Courtney Cortez Grable, on behalf of Josh and Sanya LLC, doing business at Ladd's Stop and Go located at 1441 Vincent Highway. And this is for a beer license retail package to go.
Ask for a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Dr. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Walden?
Aye.
Ms. Shinholster?
Aye.
Mr. Reynolds?
Aye.
Mr. Mullins?
Aye.
Mr. Chambers?
Aye.
Before we conclude the agenda items tonight, Ms. Walden would like to address us, please.
Yes, for most of you that know, my dad was a very blessed man. He lived to be 93 years old and was in pretty good health until about the last 2 weeks. So, I too am very blessed to have such wonderful friends and family. I appreciate the cards, the flowers, the calls, the visits. It was just amazing, and it meant so much. So I appreciate your act of kindness during that time. Thank you.
You're so welcome, Ms. Walden. All right, is there any further business to discuss? If not, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Adjourn.